The ring of a bell comes to you on a cold wind. The ring comes again and again, until soon the air is full with the you are, and then you are not. An indistinct figure stands before you, flickering between forms like a fire-cast shadow. A fixed, taunting grin. And at their back, 4 indistinct shades hover. You feel an eternity stretch out behind each of them, reaching back to places so distant and yet so near you cannot comprehend. The shifting image of Berith settles on the aspect of the pallid night.
Watcher.
Her voice is the discordant clangor of gongs struck out of time.
I tasked you to discover Aethys's intentions. Tell me what you have learned.
The pallid night knits her brows.
He does not seek to return to the beyond? Intriguing.
Her sickly pale skin pulls tight across the bones of her face, as if the shell of this aspect does not quite fit the impossible creature it contains. The figure nearest Berith dissolves and reforms in the image of a thin-lipped, ancient crone, whose face has felt the melting kiss of fire. The goddess Wodika strides forward.
Does Aethys frighten you, Berith? He should. Magran subdued Aethys's influence once before.
From out of Wodika's shadow shuffles a hunched, bald man you recognize as the god Scan. His skin is mapped with swollen lash scars, and breath whistles through the ragged hole in his face where his nose once was. He does not speak, but stares up at Wodika, with naked loathing plain on it. Wodika steeples her long, knob-jointed fingers.
We must annihilate Aethys now, before he makes a rash decision we cannot easily annul.
She casts a sly look at the pallid night from the corners of...
A moon would do the job nicely.
Wodika throws her head back and laughs. The sound is a dry...
Andra could do with a new act. Her current one has grown rather stale.
They see to their own affairs. You will speak to them in time, should you have the need.
The figure beside the aspect of Berith flows forward as the ash falls to the tiles and reveals a molten-skinned woman, leaning on a monstrous, wicked-edged broadsword. Magran's glowing lips curl in disdain.
We must find a solution to the problem of Aethys that is neither do nothing, nor destroy the world. I acted in haste during the Saints' War. You will not goad me into doing the same now. To move against him while his plans are unknown would be the height of foolishness. We must find wisdom in precaution.
Magran looks at you as one might a wayward gob of spit on one...
It is no business of yours what the gods decide.
Another of the silent figures steps forward, and the warm, golden light of a summer's...
Let's all take a deep, calming breath. Perhaps cooler heads will prevail.
Behind Helia's words, you hear...
Aethys has been separated from us for too long. Isn't it possible he intends only to gather enough souls to reclaim his realm in the beyond? He should be welcomed.
You look up then into avian eyes. Through them, you see clouds of starlings converge and divide. Helia puts a feathered hand to her chest.
He wouldn't. Betrayal is not in his nature.
Scan shuffles forward.
Yes, yes. We should welcome Aethys's return to the fold. Then, when he believes himself to be in our good graces, we do as Wedeka suggests.
Scan pauses, inspecting you.
Ah, and here is the Watcher who delivered poor tormented Alice back into the clutches of her uncle, Lord Harren. Curious.
Scan licks the ragged edge of his lipless mouth and grins, then turns to Helia.
I did not expect such a deliciously ruthless idea.
Helia's feathered crest stands on end.
You wretched little creature.
Your point is well made, little Watcher. If self-evident, Aethys has not been known to possess a vindictive nature. Indeed, he has occasionally been magnanimous. However, if we push him to the brink of reason, there is no telling what he may do. He is, as ever, unpredictable.
Something akin to fondness creeps into the pallid knight gestures for silence.
Aethys cannot be killed, but he may be subdued. Yet to do so will take immense power, and both stand in his favor.
Magran grits her black glass teeth.
That is why we must ascertain his plans before he has the chance to put them into motion.
She begins to pace. Her steps leave little trails of fire in her wake. Magran stops and balls her head.
Even if we manage to destroy his current form, there is the possibility he could return, if he has not already absorbed.
The pallid knight casts a cold, cutting glare.
Magran speaks too freely. That knowledge...
Wodika waves the gods to silence.
Aethys gathers strength. His strength.
Her voice takes on a sharp, almost panicked edge.
There is no sensible answer to the question of a resurgent Aethys, other than decisive, final action.
Your opinion is unasked for and unnecessary, but noted nonetheless.
Though her tone is impassive, the banked fury in her eyes says well enough what she thinks of your
We will act when it is appropriate to do so, and not...
The pallid knight steps away from the half-circle of assembled gods. The words she speaks next come not from her mouth, but from...
Follow him, Watcher.
The black of the pallid knight's irises expand until her eyes are as dark and cold as the void between stars. She bends...
Your debt to me remains unpaid.
She stares at you, unblinking. Like a needle drawn to a magnet, you are pulled toward her. You blink open your eyes and find yourself on the floor of your ship's cabin, alone.
Already on it. Consider it done.
Ship life sure is an adventure, ain't it? Just think of all the places we can sail to, all the sights we could see. This is nothing like being stuck on a farm. Tell me what's on your mind? They're there in my head when I sleep, and sometimes I can taste them on the back of my tongue like a smear of grit. Happens when I take and go madder than I already am. It's not like I can turn my back on my duty to my God, even if it kills me. My folks, you might say they're not your typical Aethasians. Sure, but the war, it touched my family. And it changed them. Killed some. The others toughened, turned survivors. That much I saw with my own eyes, even years later. My aunt's the one who taught me about the cycle of life and death. How everything, whether forwards or backwards, from seed to rot to rebirth again, it's all just states. That's how I first learned about the slice of Gone within Aethys. After that, I read all the doctrines of Gone, anything in the 12 books of Nearwith, plus the epistles from the minor prophets. A lot of them aren't a part of today's canonization, but it's tradition for the youngest born to take up the priesthood of Aethys. Well, I did it, of course, though we're few and spread out. Most don't keep to temples. Soul shepherding requires travel. Mostly I learned through reading. Any text pertaining to Gone I could get my grubby hands on. I guess it's the nature of light to want to best the darkness. But you can't have balance like that. And it's not like night and death are bad things. Oh, no use in fearing what's natural. Life isn't one long line. It's cyclical. You gotta shed the old to become the new. No need to fiddle-foot or... You need me, I'll be too...
Agrasima, Casita, for taking me on.
If you be having a tick, Cap, I'll be thinking that, if I be dragging you into these depths, you deserve the full sounding. When I were a wee swabby, fresh to the sea, it were Romaro that showed me the ropes and rigging. The sea be a right poxy oar on occasion, and life aboard the Sorcerer, that and more. Malnash, our ship hunter, she were all, mentored me too. Learned me letters and navigation, handed down the Principe traditions. In time, we became close as kin or closer. And the Sorcerer, my family. Thanks, Captain. I'll be holding you to it. Ahoy, Captain. What can I do you for?
You're far from home, farmer. How did you make it all this way in your little boat?
Why do we gotta be farmers just because we're from Deerwood?
Are you a farmer?
Yeah, but you can't just assume. We got rabble-rousers, too.
I'm the harbor master, Kauha. I must ask your reason for docking in Neketaki. Is that so? Well, Andra told me to protect the harbor, and Wodika herself signed the order. They would have had Gallowayne do it, but...
Show them. Show them what you are.
I've heard enough. There's no room for you in Neketaki Harbor. Get back on your ship and head back to...
I will help you.
What's the matter with you? What are you doing? If you're trying to scare us with some cipher mischief, save the purple flames for the tribes of the Outer Islands.
Now.
What? What is this?
Run for it!
Everybody saw that, right? It wasn't just me?